Would like to thank you all for coming out tonight and taking your busy time out. And I think we all know this is probably one of the most important things we do. We got a democracy here, and this is what it's all about, is coming out and learning about your candidates and figuring out who's the one you want to represent you. Because we know we had a very contentious election in the fall, but I'll tell you what, our democracy all starts right here at City Hall. And I'm really glad to see you. Really glad to see you all out here. Also, like to thank the League of Women Voters. They'll be running this for us. Got Carol Bickford, who helped us get it organized. Marty Felwell is going to be our moderator, and Peggy Toohey is going to be the timekeeper. And our moderator will facilitate the forum and ask the questions, and then we'll have the timekeeper here. And what she's going to do is give the candidates a 30-second warning when their time is running out, and then once they hit the barriers, we'll hold up a stop sign. And so we'll keep things moving and take. We want to make sure we do it in an hour and not hold you too long. We have 3 candidates running for office, and it will be a 2-year term to serve on the city council. It'll be the expiring term of Doug Beavis, who is running unopposed for mayor, so it'll be a 2-year term. Each candidate will be afforded 2 minutes to introduce themselves as well as their platform. This will be followed by a round of questions, and each candidate will have only 1 minute to respond to the questions. The questions will be rotated among the candidates to ensure that all get a chance to be first in the barrel. And before we start, I got a little thing here. We'll find out who's going to be first. They don't know yet, and we don't know yet. So we'll get you to pull numbers here. 15 minutes prior to the end of the forum, each candidate will be provided the opportunity to ask the other candidates 1 question. That's it. And finally, each candidate will be provided 2 minutes to summarize their candidacy. Our questions have been prepared by the moderator and the chamber and have not been shared with the candidates. We also, as you know, are taking written questions from the audience. And please let myself or Carol know. I think Carol's got a lot of them collected now, but if anything hits you, just wave and we'll get an index card for you to do that. And we'll go ahead and get those out if we can. We would ask that questions of a personal nature are discouraged. So please keep all your questions focused on the issues of importance to the city and the candidate's perspective on these topics, not their personal history. That's not what we're here for. We will attempt to get all the questions answered as time constraints permit, and we're going to do this in an hour. And to maximize the time, we ask you attending the forum to save your applause and comments until the forum ends, if we would. Now we'll start and see who's going to do what. Pick a number.
Good old-fashioned draw.
What number you got?
2.
2.
3.
That means I'm number 1.
Starts with Suda.
No, Dan is 3.
2, right?
3.
3. Dan's 3.
Gabby is 2.
And Suda gets to go
There you
first,
go.
I guess.
Yonda's Cologne is 1. Okay? Good evening. Thank you for being interested in local government. Some people say that all politics is local. So I wish you well. I hope we have a good time tonight. And Ms. Yantis Cologne, it's your turn to introduce yourself.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. And it's Marty, is it?
Yes.
I wanted to make sure it wasn't Marnie. I wanted to make sure I had Marty correct. Thank you. I'd like to start off real quick by thanking let you know that I'm honored to be here tonight, of course. I love my town. I want to give a special thank you, of course, to our League of Women Voters who are here helping us, our chamber who has helped to organize this. I know our city staff has had things to do with it as well. And all of our viewers here tonight, thank you very much for your support. I think it's great that you come out and find out a little bit about each of us and find out what is best for our community. I also want to take one quick moment to dedicate part of my time to one of our great matriarchs, Jean Jorgensen, that we lost recently. I considered her a close friend, and I also considered her a mentor. She is part of our city and part of our future, and I was honored to know her. So my prayers go out to her family and friends as well. I am Suda Yantis Cologne, and I am proud to be running for Oldsmar City Council Seat 3 in the upcoming March 12 elections. Where do I start? The easy one. I love my hometown. I've been here in business over 30 years, owning my own home here over 25 years. My heart and soul is in this community. I've watched it grow. I've watched us face challenges. And I felt we have met all those challenges with perseverance and resolve. And I look forward to adding anything that I can to that as well. Over 30 years in business gives me some great background. Many of you know that I am also the dance teacher. And my biggest challenge was, for example, when in business, and Chrysler International was one of my clients, they entrusted us with the finance, the logistics, the negotiations, employees, and movement of auto parts that came through our great town of Oldsmar down to Venezuela. So I'm honored to be a part of that and to bring all of that business knowledge from my various backgrounds into my seat. Thank you.
Ms. McGee?
I sit here before you this evening as Gabby McGee, City Council candidate for Seat 3. But more importantly, I sit here before you as your neighbor and as your friend. For those of you that know me well, you know that I have a love and a passion for this city that is close to unmatched. I don't know of any other community that is as kind, open, and giving as the city that we live in. I always say it's not how long you've lived in a community that matters, it's what you've done in the time that you have. I've been a proud Oldsmar citizen for more than 5 years when the search for my first home led me to a 1918 Ari Olds Farms Company bungalow here in the heart of downtown. In 5 short years, I have lovingly restored one of the oldest houses in the city. I have worked on a historic district nomination, and I have also sent out numerous site proposals to help recruit commercial retailers to vacant properties throughout the city. Commercial superstars in the names of Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and Bass Pro Shops will now know that Oldsmar is a great place to invest in a business and that we would welcome them with open arms. I'm an IT business professional with a background in sales, finance, marketing, and operations from some of the top vendors in the technology channel. I hold a Bachelor of Science in Finance from the University of Tampa. I have an extensive resume for my age, which includes managing a $300 million software line at the largest public company in the state. My involvement with the Economic Development Committee for the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, the Oldsmar Historical Society, and the Oldsmar Women's Club has shown me the importance of community and that each of us can make an impact as an individual, but even more so as a whole. I would like to see Oldsmar as a benchmark for other cities, as having successfully preserved our history while also creating a thriving downtown and helping fuel the local economy with new business developments and job opportunities. I am confident that my passion for preservation and economic development and my professional experience would make me a true asset to this council. I will always have the best interests of this city and the people at heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McGee. Mr. Saraki?
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for coming. My name is Dan Saraki. My wife and I have lived here in Oldsmar for the past 18 years. We operate our own graphic design company called Impact Graphics here in Oldsmar for the past 14 years. Tonight, my focus is on 3 key points: communication, community, and commitment to new businesses, the environment, and to the people. To start, I want to start out with a short story as why I am here today. My neighbors elected me as the East Lake Oaks Homeowners Association president back in 2009. I also hold the seat 1 of the Community Development District. The neighbors were asking for change. Everyone was complaining about the foreclosed homes, and plus we were also broke. The skyrocketing of the foreclosed homes. So my first goal was to go door to door to meet my neighbors. The second was to build a new board of directors so that we could stop all spending, create a new budget, and improve communication through email to our neighbors. Last week, Thursday, we had our board meeting and reviewed our year-end reports. East Lake Oaks has the reserve now of over $60,000 in our account, and we give it back through the community through block parties. This is the type of business ethics and common sense I will bring to the Oldsmar City Council, bringing the community together that helps improve public safety, pride in the neighborhood, and quality of life for all of us. I am ready to get to work. I will be a good steward of your tax dollars and be honored to serve you on City Council Seat 3. Thank you.
All right, in the next round, Ms. McGee will be first, Mr. Siraki will be second, and Ms. Yantas Colon will be third. The question is, this is the first time each of you have sought elective office. Why now, and what is your motivation to serve?
Because I know that I can make an impact here, and I will. I grew up in neighboring Palm Harbor, so I saw firsthand how the city has grown over the last 15 years. And I've also seen recently many iconic businesses and restaurants close their doors. Small businesses are struggling here. We need an identity. We need something that makes us special and unique. You know, is it our manufacturing industry? Is it our focus on going green and ecotourism? Well, if it is, then let's capitalize on it. Maybe we host annual manufacturing conferences to help get Oldsmar on the map, bring in new businesses, new people to the city. Maybe we go green in everything that we do. So we're not just going green, we're a benchmark in being green. I will bring fresh ideas and the initiative to make things happen here in the city. And that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Siraki, this is the first time you have sought elective office. Why now, and what is your motivation to serve?
The reason that I am running is because of my neighborhood. When we have the community events and the people get together, I see the faces of the kids at the block parties and the events that we run as we give our money back to the neighborhood. I enjoy the involvement of the neighborhood and the community, and I believe that I could really help in a lot of different things with the people of Oldsmar through communication, and also my focus is to help with the environment.
Thank you. Ms. Yantas Colon, do you want me to repeat the question? Are you
I
okay?
think we're good.
Okay.
First time election, why now? And what motivated me? After being here for 30 years, I've been an integral part of my community, a large civic club advocate on numerous different civic clubs, city board member on the Leisure Services Board for 12 years, chamber member, historical society, lifetime member since its induction, event and monument visionary and leader, and helped produce a number of our monuments. Our art in public places. I've been a leader on the ground floor of everything as nice as painting our sewer towers, as Councilman Beaverland will remind me to call them what they are. Photographer, event, and co-editor, actually, of the printed news, community news, when we had it in the printed format, has given me a lot of opportunity to be involved in a lot of areas in our community. It was the right time in my lifestyle to give back. I've enjoyed being a public servant. I didn't have the title, and I am enjoying the future of continuing to serve my community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Siraki will be the first this time. What have you found out about yourself and the election process so far? And what has been the biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise is when I go door to door and meet the neighbors throughout the community. They're all open-armed. They want to learn about my goals and my visions of what I have done for the community. I explain to them how long I've lived here. I've been a chamber member since 1999. I focus on communication to sign them up on my community newsletter. And I find out that it's just very warming that the community has open arms to try to welcome me into the city of Oldsmar.
Thank you. Ms. Yantas Colon?
Just confirming, what have I found out about myself in running, and what is the biggest surprise? Some of my first challenges was how to share so much of my love for this community and the areas that I've been involved in a short period of time. Some of my biggest surprises, to be honest with you, I haven't had that many big surprises. What I've enjoyed is getting out there and meeting the neighbors that I already knew and meeting new neighbors that I haven't gotten an opportunity to meet. I love my community. I love working with my community. The children and the families that I've worked with for so long and have taught and everything has brought me closer to my community. And so no surprises. It's been a fun challenge, and I'm enjoying it. Thank you.
Ms. McGee, what have you found out about yourself and the election process so far, and what has been the biggest surprise?
I have learned that you are never too young or too old to make an impact in your community. And I would agree with Dan and Suda that the openness and welcoming of this community is not necessarily surprising, but the support that I have received from residents has been just overwhelmingly humbling, and also the support I've received from residents outside of this city. I think that would be the biggest surprise.
All right, the next question, and Ms. Yadis Cologne will be the first to answer that one. Oldsmar's motto is, "A great place to live, work, and play." Do you believe that motto? What is the single best feature that makes it true?
The single best feature. Well, first of all, I'd start by saying it is a great place to live, work, and play. And I live that with every day of my life here, in both working for the community, in having my own businesses here in the community for so long, playing as a dance teacher, and in so many other areas with theater and everything, and the cultural arts. I just love. You had a second part to your question?
Do you believe the motto, and what is the single best feature that makes it true?
The single best feature that makes it true is our people. I love our community. I love my neighbors. I love the road I live on. My neighbors and my people that I live with in that area and in any area I go to is just absolutely, there's no other place like it. And my heart and soul is here, and you can see it in anything that I do. Thank you.
Ms. McGee, the Oldsmar motto is, "A great place to live, work, and play." Do you believe that motto, and what is the single best feature that makes it true?
I would say absolutely, I believe that. I'm very fortunate because I do get to work, live, and play here in the city. I work from home here in downtown, and I'm close to parks and the bay. I would say that community is probably the most important thing that makes that true. I mean, we live in a community where our neighbors sit on their front porches in their robes and invite you over for tea. And you can go to the local women's club and make lifelong friends and have play dates with your kids. And your city council members live down the street from you with their doors always open for any concerns that you have. I think that this community has a common goal of always making Oldsmar a place that's a great place to work, live, and play.
Mr. Saraki?
I think the coolest thing about this city is when my wife and I first moved here, she worked in downtown Tampa and I worked in Largo. We used to have to drive to work for an hour every day. Our goal was to own our own business here in Oldsmar, and we did that. And we ride our bikes to work. That is the most awesomest thing. And as Gabby just said, when we ride our bikes to work, the neighbors are waving, the kids are saying hello, everyone knows who we are. Everyone knows my wife and I. That is the most coolest thing of Oldsmar, and I know my wife, are really proud to live here.
Thank you. The next question. What do you see as the city's biggest challenge over the short term? Your 2-year term, if elected, and what will you do to overcome that? The biggest challenge. Ms. Yadis Cologne?
I get to go first. Excuse me while I just make.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake.
I will be glad to, but
I have my little chart here, and I was wrong. Ms. McGee?
I would say the fire rescue and firefighters' pensions, although that can be looked at as a long-term issue, it has a renewed focus by cities all around the state and in the U.S. If you look at the general fund, which pays for city departments and city staff, the largest portion of the general fund is for fire rescue. And a lot of times cities don't have control over those rising costs because they're in the hands of the legislature. So what do we do in order to kind of offset those costs? That's where I come in. That's where my sending out site proposals to help recruit businesses is going to bring in an additional tax base, additional franchise fees to help offset those rising costs. I was recently honored with the endorsement by the Oldsmar Palm Harbor professional firefighters because they believe I will be an immediate asset to the city and I will ensure the sustainability of the fire department for many years to come.
Mr. Saraki, what do you see as the city's biggest challenge over the short term, your 2-year term if elected? And what will you do to overcome that?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, it's only 2 years, so there's really, when you talk about goals, it's very important to really think about it. Number one is my wife and I have our graphics company here in Oldsmar. We specialize in commercial real estate. That is our forte. Since 1999, we have specialized in this market. So we understand the demographics of the city of Oldsmar. We understand what customers would come to this city. So that's number one goal, is I can help in that area. Number two, recycling. Next year, I want to focus on commercial recycling. Currently, we don't recycle anything in Oldsmar, and those would be my two goals for the city of Oldsmar.
Thank you. Ms. Yantis Cologne?
Yes. We have a lot of challenges we're facing. Of course, the fireman's pension is a hot topic right now that we have a lot of challenges to overcome and still ahead of us, and some that we're slowly working on. I've got 20 of them. I got to pick one or two. We just have a lot of great things in place. A couple of them that stick out, mainly in my mind, of course, our CRA and our future of our redevelopment, which will in turn help to bring more businesses and more employees into our community. We got the simplest thing as a centennial coming up. As soon as we finalize our date, there is a lot to be done to bring our entire community together to celebrate our town and get us even further on the map. And stormwater regulations, and we're facing a different type of growth also. We've got maintenance of some really great things in our community. And there's going to be some challenges on keeping up with the maintenance of those and finding what's available for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, this question addressed challenges. The next question is, what do you see as the city's biggest opportunity? And the interesting word is probortunity, looking at problems as opportunities. But what do you see as the city's biggest opportunity over that term, and what will you do to make that happen?
Am I up?
Checking your list.
I'm up?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Saraki, yes.
Oh, yeah, okay, thank you. Yes. My number one priority, I believe, for City Council is the Market Street CRA, the Community Redevelopment Agency. The downtown area, the city of Oldsmar just purchased the Goodrich building where my son-in-law used to work here in Oldsmar. That building was an important asset, a key asset to buying that land so that we can redevelop that land, so that we can bring people and bring the community together with family events here in the downtown Oldsmar area. That would be my number one goal.
Ms. Yantis Cologne, what do you see as the city's biggest opportunity over that 2-year term, and what will you do to make that happen?
I do see the CRA. I agree with probably all of us here. That's going to be one of the greatest opportunities of growth. And I've been able to, even being on the Leisure Services Board, be involved in some of those future plans and looking at it and everything. And I look forward to rolling up my sleeves and getting into being a part of that growth. I also know that another great opportunity is our facelift that we're looking at in our industrial park. Not so much businesses we need to get to Oldsmar, but we need to get our manufacturers. We need to get them back in over at our industrial park and grow so that it's more pedestrian friendly, safer, and we get our manufacturers in, which will help increase our tax base without adjusting our millage. Thank you.
Ms. McGee, address the opportunities.
I would say the biggest opportunity is the growth that's happening right now in Pinellas County. There's commercial retailers moving in, not necessarily in Oldsmar. The home sales are rising. Look at the new hotels that have come up in just a 1-block radius. So there's a lot of opportunity here to capitalize on the revitalization that's happening around us and within Oldsmar. And what I'm going to continue to do is I'm going to continue to send out those site proposals. I'm going to continue to focus on bringing in new businesses to the city. A lot of times when I talk to commercial retailers, they say that Oldsmar isn't on their strategic map yet. They always go for more established cities like Tampa and St. Petersburg. And, we have to show them that we're a great city and we're a great place to invest in a business, and we have to welcome them with open arms. And what I'm going to do with my strategy is I focus on businesses that are not local to Pinellas County, that their customers traditionally drive more than 20 miles to get to them. That creates high demand, and that brings cross-county residents, which is good for all businesses, large and small.
All right, the next question, Ms. Yandis Cologne will address first. The Oldsmar government is essentially made up of three parts: the city council, the city manager, other charter officials and staff, and citizen boards. How do you think this partnership works, and what will you do to strengthen it?
Well, being a member of one of those boards that works within the city for 12 years now, I feel I've already been in a very positive impact on that, and that I had a lot of good opportunity to, from everything from our new playgrounds to our art in the parks to other things that we're bringing to the community. I think we have a great working group here. I have personally worked through many levels with all divisions of both council through Bruce Haddock, and as well as many of the other boards, being involved with them as well. And I think we can continue that. We have a great group. Again, it's all about community, and our people come from our community.
Ms. McGee?
So I think that the partnership is working. I think that boards and committees are essential. There's only 5 people on the council, and they can't possibly extend themselves into every issue, every department. So it's important to have committees available to do the research and make the recommendations to the city and the city council. I think the biggest thing that's missing from the structure is the citizens, the electors of the government. And one of the ideas I have about strengthening our city government is Mind Mixer. It's an online town hall forum, and it helps bring cities and citizens together. It's a communication tool, and basically the way it works is cities can go out and they can post projects and ideas, and then citizens get incentives for being actively engaged, for putting their feedback on those projects. Other citizens can second them, and then the city can choose to implement them. It's a great tool to get your citizens engaged and have an interactive city, and I think that that is a key part of our governmental structure.
Mr. Saraki?
I would be basically more involved with getting involved with actually the committees themselves. I would be interested in learning more about each group or each committee, and actually visiting the planning and development, the public works, and just meet with different committees and understand what their needs were and get involved as far as just learning what I could do to help. Gabby has a good point. I do more of email marketing. I still feel that email is the best way to communicate at this point in time, and I would stick with that particular idea and continue working as groups with email.
The next question. What do you know is your job as a city council member? And what do you think you can do to promote the city, and how do you think you can make it more well-known in circles that are important to make sure the city is included in all regional plans? Ms. McGee?
My role as city council is to be a representative of the citizens, and it's to set policy on behalf of them. The second part of your question in regards to being involved more on a regional standpoint, it would be important to be a part of regional organizations like the Florida League of Cities, attending regional conferences, having good relationships with your senators and your county commissioners. When, say, multimodal transportation in the future, if the rail is going to come to Pinellas County, we want to make sure that the rail is going to come here to Oldsmar. So it's important to, participate in those circles and get our name out there to put Oldsmar on the map.
Mr. Saraki?
Can you repeat it once more for me?
Yes. What do you know is your job as a city council member? And what do you think you can do to promote the city, and how do you think that you can make it more well-known in circles that are important to make sure the city is included in all regional plans?
My goal as city council member would be focused on working with local Senate, the local government people to just get involved as much as I could to build the community, work together with the community of the people, and focus on the improve the quality of life and the involvement of working with the citizens of Oldsmar.
Ms. Yandis Cologne?
Yes, as my job as a council member, what I know about it is one of our main things is to take care of operations of an entire city, which does mean everything from our community, its citizens, to the simplest thing of how a certain dollar is spent. I do think we play a role in helping to bring business in, but I don't think it is our key role. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm going to bring business here because that's not what I'm doing this for. To improve like we're doing, to bring manufacturers in and things are going to help us in those areas. And how to market it? Well, being like Dan in the marketing business myself for 30 years, there's a lot we can do to market it. I can tell you personally from sitting on local boards and having a dance class here and within our city, I can tell you a lot of great ways that we need to improve on our marketing and continue to get the word out there.
Okay, the next question. The City Council recently voted to levy a service availability fee on reclaimed...
Service availability fee.
The City Council recently voted to levy a service availability fee on reclaimed water access despite considerable public opposition. Do you think that was a good decision? Why or why not?
I knew you were going to ask
So
that.
who's up first? You get to go first.
My wife and I own a house in East Lake Oaks, but we also own 3 apartment buildings in the Harbor Palms area. We do not have reclaimed water in that area. We are dying to get it in the Harbor Palms neighborhood for my apartments. We want reclaimed water. I personally felt it might have even been better. I don't even agree with the decision. I think actually Linda Norris was the only one that voted no on that option, and I actually agreed with her. I would have rather seen a tax on everybody in the city, maybe $1, but it didn't work out because, I personally want reclaimed water, so that's how I feel.
Ms. Yandis Cologne?
Yeah, I have to agree. I was a bit torn. I understand from a business standpoint why we need to do these type of things in order to not raise our taxes. So it is a critical issue that we do have to cover some of these. I can also chime in with Dan. I know neighbors, actually I don't see him here yet this evening, that wish they have reclaimed water. So what can we do, as we are in our plans, to get to those that want to pay for it and want to have it and help maybe compensate some of that area? I have to agree. I have a hard time paying for something that I'm not using. And I kind of felt for our citizens, and I also felt for our council in the tough decision that they had to make on that one.
Ms. McGee?
I am one of the residents that received the letter. I am paying the fee as the other 741 households. And although I'm not, for charging residents for something they don't use, I always try to look at the long-term implications of why the city's charging the fee in the first place. If the city didn't charge the fee and didn't make up that revenue, could it mean there's going to be a deficit in the future? Could that mean we'll have to pay higher property taxes? So I always look at those things. I liked Dan's idea. I had a similar idea, and I thought, well, if it's for the benefit of the entire community, then why doesn't everyone just pay 25 cents? If everyone paid 25 cents a month, it's $3 a year instead of $50 a year for 742 people. The only problem with that is that reclaimed water will probably never be available to everybody in the entire city. Even if we had the infrastructure, just the supply wouldn't be available. So it's tricky. I understand, it's a controversial issue, but, I agree with Suda and Dan on both levels, that we need to have the revenue to support the infrastructure that's in place.
Thank you. Oldsmar is now self-sufficient in its water supply, treatment, and reclamation. These investments have been carefully leveraged with grants and other incentives. Do you believe this is a good long-term investment for the city? And how do you think this may impact future millage rates or service fees? Ms. Yondas Colon?
A self-sufficient community and city is a great thing. I can't see anything wrong with it except for some challenges that we face. Being able to utilize grants, which our city does very well and takes opportunity and does all the extra work and research. I've been on the ground floor of working with some grants in different areas, and that is our key to keeping our tax dollars down if we can utilize those. What was the last part? Because these are like three-time loaded questions here. Sorry.
Do you believe the investments have been carefully leveraged with grants and other incentives? Do you believe this is a good long-term investment for the city? And how do you think this may impact future millage rates or service fees?
Well, I think with the grants, we have helped to save having to go into increasing millage rates. I am very proud, as many of us are, of our 5-year holding steady at the same millage rate without changes, and I hope to see that continue. I think that is a priority for not only us, but for our future council as well. So I think it's a great move because we do need to be self-sufficient.
Ms. McGee?
I absolutely agree that it's a great idea when you're not held at the mercy of a monopoly, such as a water company. I mean, we saw what recently happened with Tampa Bay Water. If we were still purchasing our water from Tampa Bay Water after they lost that multi-million-dollar lawsuit, as the taxpayers, we would be paying for that. And because we have our own water supply, we're not. So I think that, it's an outstanding investment. Long-term, I would absolutely support it. And I don't see it necessarily meaning additional property taxes. I mean, I think right now it's even underutilized. Can't quote me on it, but I believe it's underutilized from its full capacity. So I don't see that being a problem in the near future at all.
Mr. Saraki?
I agree with Gabby. Thank God that water plant went online right before a week before those taxes went up, because we will all be paying for that. The great thing about the water is we need it. We need water to live, to cook. And that's the most important thing. And with the reverse osmosis plant that we have, the water is just incredible. I think the long-term investment, unfortunately, I think our rates are going to be going up to sustain our new building. So I think that's might have to happen in the future. But again, it's water and we need it.
Thank you. Ms. McGee? Now we're starting on questions from the audience.
Me.
You get to be first on that one.
And this is a slightly different area, slightly different tack. We've always appreciated how Oldsmar has never allowed adult-oriented clubs or businesses or gambling in the city. What are each of your positions on these businesses, and would you keep going in the same direction?
I think that we should continue in the same direction that we're going. I can't see that adding to our property values or the value of our city in any way. If that's your business, that's what you like to do, hey, that's fine. If you want to go to another city to do it, more power to you. But I absolutely think we should continue the way that we're going. I just don't see that being in the vision for the future of the city.
Mr. Saraki?
That is actually kind of an easy question. No,
We were bracing, weren't we?
I would definitely keep Oldsmar as it is. This is a great community. I mean, there's nothing like that here, and I don't believe we should ever have it here, those types of businesses. I'm a small businessman, and I focus on, working with a small business, and I try to give as much business I can to the local businesses here in Oldsmar, and I definitely would not want anything like that.
I have to chime right in with the three. I don't. I agree, especially being a teacher to our youth. I had a perfect example of something even borderline that was only appropriate for adult nature on our wonderful Bradshaw video. We get tagged on the end to YouTube, and some rather inappropriate music that shows right under the City of Oldsmar's website name. So I had since a concerned voter brought it to our attention, and we're working to try to make it more appropriate, even on the simplest level as that. So before I'm even getting there, I'm trying to make sure we keep not only our community safe and as well as our children.
There is a medical building on the corner of Curlew and Tampa Road. When are they going to occupy it?
Good question. Do we have anyone? Raise your hands and come join us.
Mr. Saraki is first on that.
I actually thought they were going to make it into like a disco nightclub or something. It's such a big building.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that is the most horrible thing I think I've ever seen. I don't know what to say about that building. When I remember when it was being built, and I actually would drive by, because I bank over there, and I was like, why are they building this thing here? A medical building. I mean, why? We got a hospital right around the corner on McMullen Booth. So it's unclear as to what to even do with that. I think, again, I'll go back, make it into a disco.
There you go.
Hey, now that just reverses the question.
Malone?
Hey, I would love, as a citizen or a council person, to be able to say when a building is going to be occupied. Medical building or empty buildings. We have buildings that need to be occupied. I look forward to working both as a citizen and hopefully as a council person in the future to be able to work with our community, our chamber, to fill those kind of buildings. I know with the economy that we face and the type of structures sometimes that we're faced that we would love to get into is not necessarily realistic in our economic structure that we're in. So I'm going to further one from a disco. I'm going to turn it into a cultural arts center. How about that? Thank you.
Ms. McGee?
Is Marie Dauphiné in the room? I think she could best answer that question.
Yeah, right. Marie, help us out here.
As Suda mentioned, there are many vacant properties in this city. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I started sending out site proposals for Forest Lakes, the Galleria. I haven't gotten to that building yet. But, I would disagree with Dan on the medical standpoint because my love is a doctor. So I know that they always need offices and hospitals and things of that nature. It's unfortunate. I remember, it was being built in a down economy. That's, not always necessarily the smartest development. But my hope is that we'll be able to continue to fill those. As I said, the economy's turning around. New businesses are coming into the county, and I'm sure there is maybe even potentially for Nick in the future, a medical office that would be able to fill it.
Thank you. Do you have in your possession the current city budget, and if so, what have you learned? Ms. Yantis Colon?
Oh, I get to go first on that. Yes, I do. I'm very proud to have my city budget. Was honored to meet with all of our department heads and discuss the numbers of them further. The most interesting key that I found out as soon as I started looking at them is my business sense kicked in. I started to notice numbers that went up. I noticed numbers that went down. So my biggest interest with our department heads, too, was to find out why those numbers went up or down. In our staffing, it has affected salaries and things like that. So I was very interested, basically just to learn that the knowledge I already had is serving me well in asking the right questions to get the things done that we need to have done.
Ms. McGee?
I do have it here in hand, all of it. I could say that I probably learned more than I ever thought I would want to learn or need to learn. But, the city is so all-encompassing. There's so many different facets to it. And it's important, especially as a member of city council, to understand all of those facets. And one of the things that I did notice was that our taxable values were declining. I saw that year over year. And again, it just emphasizes why we have to come up with other ways to bring in new revenue to the city, and we can't just depend on our residential property taxes.
Mr. Saraki?
Well, one thing I noticed about the budget is I'm glad our millage rate has not gone up. That was the big key because taxes are a big force in our community. I'm glad our house taxes went down a little bit this year, which really helped out. The budget is kind of overwhelming for me. I'm used to a small Eastlake Oaks budget, and this is mammoth. And I still have a lot to learn. I'll be very honest with you. I truly I understand the budget and where it's going, but I still have a lot to learn with the dynamics of the budget.
Thank you. At this time, which is about 15 minutes left of our hour time, each of you will have an opportunity to ask the other two candidates a question. And I'm assuming that you're asking them the same question. That's not specified here. Where's our gentleman? Can they ask separate questions to each other candidate, or should it be the same question?
The thing we don't want to do is don't get perfect.
Of course not.
Oh, great. Knows this too well.
Okay, the first question, then I guess it's up to you. The first questioner would be Ms. McGee.
Okay. One of the 5 points of the city's strategic vision is to encourage high-tech industry and clean businesses. What would you do to attract and retain high-paying, high-technology jobs in the city?
And is that question for both of them? Same question? Okay, Mr. Saraki?
Okay, first of all, again, I'll say it again, my company specializes in commercial real estate. We have a team of brokers, tenant representatives, and people in place that can find the right demographics for Oldsmar to bring businesses here. I would focus, if I was elected as city council member, I would focus on that particular area to bring businesses into Oldsmar to fill the vacant spaces.
Ms. Yadis Cologne?
Again, I also go back to some of our highest paying and best businesses that we can get involved is our manufacturers. I think that the plans we already have set in place to grow and improve that area, make it more pedestrian friendly, give it a little facelift. We definitely need a facelift. I am a business owner with a warehouse that was in the industrial park. I would not walk down that street to go to the local restaurant. So I think that those continued type of things need to be done and improving to make it more inviting to our high-paying type of businesses. And I think that continued working together with the chamber and our citizens as well will improve on that.
Thank you. Mr. Saraki, your question.
My question is pretty easy. What do you feel are your weaknesses? I told you it was easy.
I think he kind of leaned over towards Suda first when he was looking.
I'll go first. I'll be glad to.
Keeping with our rotation system here, Ms. Yadis Cologne?
My weaknesses is I'm very excited. But you know what? Excitement is catching. And that excitement I have experienced not only within the jobs that I do, with the children I teach, the businesses I run, and the people, and actually the wedding coordinating that I do when my brides, that excitement is catching. And even though I get a little excited and a little hyper and I'm very passionate, I think a lot of that helps make us all excited. Thank you.
Your answer to that question?
I would say it's probably my assertiveness. I'm a natural leader, and sometimes you just have to know when to let other people lead, when to step down. And, I am very assertive. I'm very proactive. That's why I do the things I do here in the city. But, I like to go with the fact that we can turn all of our weaknesses into strengths. And being assertive is a weakness and a strength for me, that I just have to constantly continue the balance of, not always trying to be the leader every time and letting other people lead. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Yadis Cologne, your question.
This is a good one. This is a challenge. I like this. We can't go with something easy like what's your favorite color, right? Okay. I think a good one that we all are answering somewhat, but I'd like to present it again to all of us for an opportunity is what are our qualifications that make us a good candidate? I think we all have some great background for that.
So as I mentioned, my assertiveness has led me to work on a historic district nomination for the city. For a year, I've been working on creating site file forms, taking photographs, working on plat maps. I've also created site proposals, which I have a few in the room this evening that you can look through with demographics, statistics. Those are things I do in my free time. My background is with a technology provider. I work in a high-tech industry. I've got sales, marketing, operations. As I mentioned earlier, I have managed the second largest software vendor at the largest public company in the state, Tech Data. It was a $300 million line. I managed their operations, their budget, from end to end, I was responsibility for the profit and loss of that vendor at that company. And so I've got the business background, I've got the initiative to make things happen, I've got new ideas, and I'm able to help bring new business to the city, but also help preserve the historic fabric of our neighborhoods that we were founded on.
I'll keep it short.
Don't try to one.
When I was 21 years old, I lost my dad. I had already been married and I had a baby. So basically, my goal was to be self-employed. I left my job with Apple Computer Corporation and I started my own computer company at the computer industrial wave, you might say. Within 3 years, I became the first IBM authorized dealer at my computer store. My forte is small business. I believe I can help the small businesses of the city of Oldsmar. Being self-employed here in Oldsmar, that is what I can do. I can help small businesses grow.
I changed my question. Why did you change from IBM or back to IBM?
They wouldn't give me the dealership.
Oh, well.
I left their company.
Oh, well.
Okay, now we come to our final closing statements. You'll each have 2 minutes for that. And let's go in reverse order from the beginning. So that would mean Mr.
I was
Siraki.
fine, so we go the other way.
Mr. Siraki was third,
I stay the same.
You stay the same.
so your 2 minutes closing.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. I must admit, I have been a nervous wreck, seriously. But all I can say is what has happened to me in the last 3 years as the president of my homeowners association, seeing my neighborhood come together at my block parties, seeing the community come together. This year when we did our annual holiday lights party, watching the children follow us in the bus saying, pick our home to win the prize. Bringing the community together is my main focus and my main goal. And again, small businesses. I'm basically going to focus on new jobs, new business for Oldsmar, the environment, expand the recycling services to the commercial users. We don't do that. And the people. Continue to work with our residents to improve the quality of life, community involvement, and civic pride. Again, I am ready to get to work and be honored to serve as City Council C3.
Next would be Ms. McGee.
A lot of leaders in this country, whether at a national or municipal level, get elected to the office on the basis of promises. Promises that they're going to bring new businesses to the city, promises that they're going to fill vacant properties, promises that they're going to enhance our quality of life. It's all too familiar that once elected, these officials don't always keep their promises. And it's not always because they won't, it's because oftentimes they can't find the time. I'm already keeping my promises to you that I have yet to make. I want to show you that you don't have to be a member of your city government to make an impact in your community, that each of us can make an impact as an individual. But I also want to show you what I would do for you as your city commissioner if elected on the basis of what I'm already doing for you as your neighbor and your friend. If you can have one takeaway about the type of leader and council member I will be, take my home as an example. I still remember the day my realtor showed me that dilapidated old bungalow. It was a foreclosure without a hope in sight. No kitchen, no air conditioning, extensive termite damage. But when I left that house, I had a feeling that it needed me and that I needed it. I gave life back into that house, and in the process, I increased my neighboring property values and the value of this community. I have given a piece of history back to this city. The day that I bought that house and became a member of this community changed my life forever. And I feel strongly that it will change Oldsmar forever too. I can make a difference here, and I know that I will. I know that I can win this election, but more importantly, I know that I can't win it without you. I thank you for your love and your support, and I thank you for your vote. And I'll remind you, Gabby McGee for seat 3. Thank you.
Ms. Yadis Cologne.
I got to start it off and I get to wrap it up. Thank you. I want to wish, actually, all my opponents good luck. I still have to say what a compliment to our great city that we have the 3 of us coming out for the open seat. We may all be first-timers, but I think we all have great things to bring to the table. Been a public servant, serving our community without the title. I'm going to continue that in no matter what aspect. I am very big on rolling up my sleeves and get in and get the job done. I have proven it time and time again for many, many years, and if I had an hour, I could tell you all the different things that I've been involved in. I encourage you to visit our website to find out more. I have been repeating a very common phrase that I believe Mother Teresa, once I did a little research, together we can accomplish great things. I believe this. I live by this. I run all of my businesses in the same fashion, and I believe that together we can accomplish great things for Oldsmar. I also want to remind everybody, got to get out there and vote. We've got a huge voting base in Oldsmar of almost, 9,500 or something? And only 1,600 come out to vote in our city elections? So get involved, folks. If you want a voice, we need to hear from you. And would like to just say I've appreciated being time. I've had fun. This has been great so far, and looking forward to it. My heart and soul is here. I want to continue to give my heart and soul back to the community, and that's why I ask you to go to the polls and vote for Suda as your next council person in seat 3 in the March 12th elections. Thank you.
I'd like to compliment the audience just for being here and for taking an interest in their community, to be informed voters. I think that's just so important. And I think the audience at this point would probably like to give a round of applause for our 3 candidates.
I'm going to keep my number 1.
Do you have anything else, or are we, this is it?
I think probably we will talk to you a little bit.
We would love a meet and greet. We would love a meet and greet.
So am I correct then that candidates will stay to, if you'd like to ask questions?
Yes.
Okay.
You guys will be staying too? Yeah. Yep. Hi,